Dear colleagues, welcome to my hospital at Ranaghat, West Bengal, India. This is a hard cataract. Let us see what happens during surgery. This is the main incision, a 2.8 millimeter incision on the posterior aspect of the limbus. This is a side port on the right side of the main incision. And now this is another side port on the left side of the main incision. Now I want to stain the anterior capsule of this cataract with trypan blue dye, and I always inject an air bubble and inject the dye beneath this air bubble. And here it is. This is a bit of adrenaline to see if the pupil dilates little more. The pupil size is okay, but if it constricts during surgery, I may have some problem. And now, viscoelastic substance is injected into the anterior chamber. This is 2% hydroxypropyl methyl cellulose. This is a very good viscoelastic substance. Now, Capsulorhexis is to be done. I incise the anterior capsule with a 26 gauge bent needle and raise a large, easy to hold flap. Now I hold this flap and go along the border of the pupil, in this case, to get an adequate sized rhexis. You can see that the pupil has constricted to some extent, and I'm getting about a rhexis of about 5.5 or 5.75 millimeter. And now hydrodissection is to be done. BSS is passed just under the anterior capsular rim, and the nucleus is mobilized, and I find that it is rotating nicely. Viscoelastic substance is again injected, and now is the time to introduce the tip of the phaco handpiece. Now see what happens. I remove some superficial cortical matter, and as I try to bury the tip into the substance of the nucleus, see the size of the pupil. The pupil size has become very small, say about 4.5 millimeter or so. And now I could not get a good crack, so I go to a deeper plane, sculpt a bit, go to a deeper plane, hold it near the rim, and get a good crack here. But I don't do a lot of lateral separation, being afraid of causing genular stress. Rotate 90 degree and make another chop, and this chop was good. And now rotate 90 degree, go to a deeper plane, hold one part and try to separate the pieces, but there is a thick leathery band which is joining these two pieces. Now I want to make 3 fragments of this seminucleus. This is the first chop. I've got a good crack, but it is not a free fragment. And this is the larger portion of this heminucleus, trying to divide it into 2 pieces, but again I cannot. All the pieces are joined to each other by a thick, leathery, stubborn posterior plate. And so I am trying to separate the pieces manually. After injecting viscoelastic substance with a Sinskey hook and a chopper, I am trying to separate the pieces, but there is a thick leathery band and a thick stubborn plate which is joining all the fragments, and I give up. I cannot separate the pieces. I cannot make the pieces free. And so, what to do? I have to manage it somehow. I call it do it somehow. That is dish technique. It means you have to use your presence of mind and all your past experiences to complete the case. So in this case I have decided to trim the periphery and reduce the size of the nucleus. So I am trimming the periphery, and at this time the size of the pupil has become really small. It is about 4 mm or 3.5 mm. But the pupil is not coming to the tip, and I am able to trim the equatorial portion of the nucleus and reduce its size. So I am going all along 360-degree, rotating the nucleus, holding at another place and trimming it from the equatorial part and reducing its size. And what happens is, after you reduce it to some extent, you can tilt the nucleus. Here it is. You can tilt the remaining portion and you can emulsify it. The central leathery stubborn posterior plate gives in when you tilt this portion, and here it is. The leathery band is being removed. I am very slow, very steady, and I am keeping my heartbeat as normal as possible. And this is the last portion of the nucleus. I am always at the iris plane, and thus this nucleus is conquered. Phaco energy used in this case is 80%. Flow rate is 45 ml per minute. Vacuum is 450 millimeter of mercury, and this setting is from beginning to end. I haven't reduced the setting even for the last portion of the nucleus. And this is the beauty of this machine, Hard Cataract 3. No financial interest, but I find the anterior chamber stability excellent in this machine. And now little bit of cortex, if it is there, is being removed blindly because I cannot see. Just go under the iris and try to remove it. And now I am injecting viscoelastic substance, and a foldable intraocular lens is implanted in the bag. The chopper guides the trailing haptic to go deep at a deeper plane so that it goes into the capsular bag. And the leading haptic is placed in the bag by a gentle push. Now this is an Y-shaped instrument. I use these for retracting the iris and see if there is any cortical matter remaining anywhere. So I am retracting the iris and I find that there is some cortex at 6 o'clock and there is some cortex at 2 o'clock. And now I find that if I want to clean this cortex nicely and if I want to check the IOL if it is in the bag, I have to enlarge the size of the pupil. And this is the pupil expander that I use frequently nowadays. It is B-hex pupil expander, very much affordable by all of us. And now this flange didn't go properly. It is not tucked properly. So what I do is I hold this flange above the iris, bring it again forward, and now I hold it at the middle, and this time I tuck this flange properly and dilate the size of the pupil as much as possible. And now I use the 23 gauge Cinco cannula and clean the cortical matter. And I find that the lens is nicely placed in the capsular bag. So we can use the pupil expander at any stage of surgery, even for cortical cleanup, and to check if the IOL is in the bag, we can use the B-hex pupil expander. And now the job of the B-hex is over, and we have to remove the B-hex. I'm dialing the lens and placing it properly and checking the rim of the anterior capsule. Inject some visco and take the 23 gauge B-hex forceps, and it is very easy to untuck all the flanges, and it is very easy to remove. Just gently you have to pull it out. That's it. And now the viscoelastic substance 2% hydroxypropyl methyl cellulose is removed nicely. I go behind the IOL, irrigate the capsular bag, irrigate the anterior chamber, irrigate the anterior chamber angle all around, and remove the viscoelastic substance very nicely. Then I use irrigation and aspiration together, and the viscoelastic substance is very nicely removed. I have post-op pictures of this case. 4 hours after surgery, I'm going to post this post-op pictures also just after this video, and you can see that even in this prolonged surgery with use of viscoelastic substance 2% SPMC, the cornea remains very clear. The antitymor is formed and the case is concluded. Thank you very much for watching. Hope this video will help you in developing your surgical skills.